Darth Bane, Darth Krayt, Darth Revan, and Darth Plagueis. These four Sith Lords shaped galactic history in one way or another. Revan influenced Bane, who influenced Plagueis, and Bane's rule of 2 influenced Krayt's rule of 1. But if these four legends of the Sith Order ever met on a deserted battlefield, turned on their lightsabers and all tried to kill each other, who would win? Hey guys, welcome back to the Pancake Spy, and here is the Season 1 finale for the Versus series. Season 2, I'm already working on it, so Versus is not over. I'm going to have Season 2, and I'm going to have like a playlist of all Season 1. So, yeah, this video took a while. It's a little bit of a longer video. It's like the longest video on the channel at the moment. And I'm just, if you want to watch this video, just get a bag of popcorn, get a soda, just, because this one's going to be a long ride. We're examining, or I have done this video before, however, the video is crap. It was 15 minutes long, and I feel like I rushed it, and I overrated Revan. I feel like I underrated the rest. And I feel like I feel like I have enough information about each character that I think I know who really would win. And I know how this battle. Also, we're going to have a narrative ending, so I'm going to do like a full-on like book reading narration kind of versus or battle, or how the battle's going to go. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are too. Without further ado, Darth Bane versus Darth Krayt versus Darth Revan versus Darth Plagueis. Let's begin. First, we will compare their physical attributes and physical capabilities. Let's begin. Darth Bane is a human male about 40 years of age. This man is a tank. He's like 6 feet, like he's like about the same height as someone like Darth Malgus or Darth Vader. His strength is bone-crushing. He is a Sith juggernaut who uses his physical strength to power through his adversaries. Despite being a massive juggernaut, Bane was also quite fast, able to defend himself from a rainstorm for 10 minutes, or like block each rain stroke with his lightsaber without getting wet. He was also able to keep pace with his younger and more agile apprentice Darth Zana. Darth Bane is also incredibly tough. This man has survived explosions, his abusive father, work in the mines, having his arm cut off, being forced to one of Darth Zana's spells of madness, which are pretty powerful spells, and succumb to his own force lightning storm, to the point where everything but his body melted. Yikes. Darth Bane has suffered some dark side degradation, yellow eyes and pale skin, and a spasm in his right arm, though none of these were able to affect his combative viability. Overall, Darth Bane is just Darth Malgus light. He's a truck. He's a tank. He can take pain, and he can deal it out. That's how Darth Bane rolls. Darth Krayt was also a human male. And seeing by the Legacy comic books, he's about 150 years old, maybe older, I'm not sure. So, yeah, this guy is pretty old. This has never affected Krayt due to circumstances, but, despite this, he's actually pretty dang in good physical health. His strength is still able to batter and bruise younger opponents like Cade Skywalker, Darth Talon, and Darth Nihil, and Darth Warlock, those guys. His speed, he was able to keep up with younger opponents throughout his entire life, surviving Order 66 and almost outrunning Obi-Wan Kenobi on their duel on Tatooine. Bane was also very tough, similar to Bane, taking lightning storms, Yu Zhongguang torture, his arm ripped off, several blaster shots, lightsaber stabs, you name it with this guy. He has taken it all. Krayt has indeed suffered dark side degradation, seeing as he's a Sith Lord that's like over 150 years old. One of his eyes is Yu Zhongguang coral plant seed, and same with his arm. He has a lot of Sith tattoos and pale skin, yellow eyes. So, similar to Bane, despite his old age, he's pretty surprising. The pretty surprising old man. I mean, just looking at him, he looks like he's in his 40s. No, he doesn't. He actually looks pretty creepy. Ugh. Darth Revan was a human male, probably around his 40s, during his late 30s, early 40s, by the time he was a Sith Lord. Because he was like a Jedi, Sith, and then both. Revan does not look like much. If one thinks of Revan, you don't think of his physical premise. He wasn't the fastest, the strongest, the most durable. Well, he was. He was quick enough to remove Malik's jaw during a sparring session, using his speed to outfence his apprentice. Also matching the strength of Darth Malik and overwhelming Bastila Shan. However, Revan's greatest showing was endurance. Revan has gone into marathon lightsaber duels and battlefield situations and is not tired out, surviving the grueling Mandalorian wars and pushing through. His stamina is almost unlimited, and his durability keeps him trucking. However, endurance is good, but it's only going to help. It's not going to win you the day. Revan also suffers some dark side degradation, notably pale skin and yellow eyes, common to Sith Lords. Or mainly just yellow eyes. I don't even think he had pale skin. Leave your comments down if you knew if he had pale skin or not. Because he might need some face cream. Okay, I'm getting way off topic. Moving on. Darth Plagueis was a Moon. Is it a Moon? A Moon Sith Lord. Probably in his hundreds. Similar to Krayt. Plagueis is very old. And unlike Krayt, age can show in Plagueis. Plagueis has like 2 hearts because of his species, and much more flexible. Plagueis is very strong, able to keep up with Darth Venemus in that one lightsaber duel. He was also able to keep pace and speed, as well with those assassins that were sent after him. I'm not sure what they were called. I'm that bad. However, he was also very durable, and also during his battle with the assassins, he got injured and he needed a breathing apparatus to breathe, which is literally how Palpatine killed him. He just force lightninged his mask and he suffocated. So, pretty good move on Palpatine's part. So, if the mask is damaged, then Plagueis is screwed. Plagueis' greater flexibility does give him an edge in some ways, but against a true physical might, then he's crushed. Plagueis does suffer some dark side degradation, pale skin, yellow eyes, common to like literally every Sith Lord ever. Well, maybe not Darth Maul or Count Dooku. Maul had the yellow eyes. Okay, I'm getting way off topic, but anyway, moving on. All 4 of these combatants do have their strengths and weaknesses in physical capabilities. Bane and Krayt are clearly physically superior to either Revan or Plagueis. Plagueis' alien traits do give him a somewhat edge, but due to his old age and his lesser physical ability, it's not too much. I am straight up kicking Revan out of this contest because, although he has endurance, his endurance is surpassed by Bane and Krayt. Plagueis is the next one who's out of here, as his apparatus is only a weakness, and all his physical strengths are just pushed down by Krayt and Bane. So it's between Bane and Krayt. I keep saying that a lot. And I say Darth Bane. I think Darth Bane is much younger, and he has far less handicaps. Krayt had his armor stuff, though we're not looking at him with it. But still, Bane is younger. He's dealing with almost, I think, a little less dark side degradation. And while Krayt can take more pain, I feel that Bane can match Krayt's strength and speed and force him into more pain. Krayt is just old. He will tire out eventually. And Bane is the kind of physical warrior that can tire him out. Advantage to Darth Bane for physical attributes and physical capabilities. Now we are going to compare their force abilities. I know, usually this is the martial arts, but we're going to just do force abilities because I want to. Darth Bane is by far one of the most powerful Sith Lords of all time. Bane had a wide variety of many abilities, and he learned from many Sith holocrons, including Darth Revan's. Though I don't think he never took any of Revan's teachings with sorcery from Revan's holocron. Bane's telekinetic pushes and pulls were so powerful that he could rip right through the force shields of opposing force wielders rather than subvert through like most Jedi and Sith would. His force lightning could go to the point of force storms that could melt everything but a person's skin, turning some subjects to ash. He could use a lightsaber throw, or a telekinetic lightsaber throw, which he did against that healer who kept, refusing him. It was, a pain in the storyline. But, yeah. He also telekinetically held that same doctor's daughter above some lava, or, some acid pit with the Force. He could use Force Scream. He could use Force Choke. He also learned... he learned how to control the Orbalisk armor. And probably his most powerful ability, Essence Transfer, which he could transfer his essence into another body and keep on living in that other body. Though, as we saw with Darth Zana, this ability can be resisted. Overall, Darth Bane is just one of the most powerful Sith Lords ever. And honestly, anyone that's his equal or above are the only types of Sith that are ever going to kill him. Because he's just awesome. Darth Krayt, again, was one of the most powerful Sith Lords in galactic history. And he lived many lives, learned from many holocrons, including Bane's. Are we seeing a pattern here? That's cool. But, anyway, Krayt studied very hard in the dark side and was very powerful in it. His telekinesis, he could throw large boulders and stuff, force push people in the middle of lightsaber duels, set out force blasts, pulls, chokes. He could use force scream, force repulses, force lightning, where he could send people to ash. I think he could use force drain. I'm not sure. Leave that in the comments below. I think he could use force drain. He was able to do force storms, lightsaber throws, mind domination, mind tricks, force whirlwinds, Tutaminis. I think he might have known of essence transfer, but I don't think he really ever used it. However, Krayt's kind of game changer was dark healing. Or, I think it was dark, no, it wasn't dark healing, it was like, I'm just gonna call it dark healing, but it was Cade Skywalker's healing ability, where he could, like, heal somebody by touching them. Or it was dark transfer. It was dark transfer. And Krayt could use it to kill or to heal his wounds. In all, Krayt uses his powers very effectively. He's very powerful with them. And again, it's very difficult to take someone with his power levels down. In my previous analysis of Darth Revan, I failed to understand that Darth Revan's power levels are the same as his power levels in Star Wars The Old Republic, because he got his memory back and stuff. I forgot to take into consideration that Revan also had all of his abilities from the first KOTOR game, and how he had advanced in power and actually became more powerful in KOTOR than he ever was as a Sith, which caused me to severely overrate his Force powers. In my new analysis of Darth Revan, I'm taking the dark side powers I knew he had before KOTOR. Again, Revan was an incredible Force wielder. His holocron went on to teach Darth Bane and influence the ruler too. Also during this holocron, Revan performed many Sith rituals that were so dangerous that Darth Bane said that even a true Sith master shouldn't attempt to do it. Which shows that Revan does have a pretty decent amount of potency in his abilities. Revan was capable of abilities like Force Lightning, Force Choke as a Sith. And clearly he was strong in the basic Jedi abilities from his initial training with Kreia, who would later be known as Darth Traya, which he probably used a lot during the Mandalorian Wars. Revan was probably very skilled in... I know, not just probably, he was skilled in Dark Rage, lightsaber throws, physical augmentation. Revan's Force Lightning was very powerful. He was able to shoot Force Storms and powerful bolts. He could also absorb bolts and redirect them with even greater force. Revan could also use abilities like Force Scream to rush at his opponents. Though, he wasn't a ravage animal, so he never really did abilities like that. His sorcery was very advanced. However, more advanced than Darth Malak. However, we're not exactly sure how much more advanced. Revan was able to keep pace with Emperor Vitiate, Darth Malak, Bastila Shan, many other of the highest Jedi. So, we know that he was the Jedi's most powerful champion and one of the Sith's best. In conclusion, Revan was very powerful as a Sith, but he wasn't as powerful as he was later on in his life. Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise. He could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. Sorry, that was my tragedy of Darth Plagueis. But yes, Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith and so powerful and so wise. He was a master at midichlorian manipulation, inadvertently creating Anakin Skywalker. A lot of people don't know that, but Sidious and Plagueis started messing with the midichlorians and made Anakin. So, Plagueis and Sidious are kind of Anakin's fathers. His two fathers. It's strange to believe, I know. But that wasn't at all that Darth Plagueis knew. He was skilled in Force Repulse, Force Scream, Force Lightning, Force Drain, Physical Augmentation, and many other sorcery techniques. He was mainly a Sith scientist, studying with midichlorians and the Force. He was also able to keep himself going through the dark side, even though he was slowly dying during his fight with the assassins that I keep mentioning, and I don't know their name. Leave them in the comments, please. It's driving me crazy. I think they were, like, Anzadi assassins. Yeah, they were Anzadi. But, yeah, Plagueis is very powerful and wise, and like a large variety of abilities. However, he didn't focus on combative force abilities, but rather his science. So, when it came to combat, his powers were very, average, at best. In conclusion, Darth Plagueis is a very powerful Dark Lord of the Sith, when in a scientific sense. These 4 Dark Lord of the Siths were all, these Dark Lords of the Sith, not Siths. Sorry, I'm getting off topic again. But these 4 Dark Lords were very powerful in the dark side of the Force. Incredibly powerful. And all 4 are a challenge to one another. However, the first Sith I'm kicking out is Darth Plagueis. Plagueis is very powerful in a scientific sense. When it came to combative force powers, he was average. And all 3 of his adversaries can destroy him in a force battle. I would honestly see Revan and Bane as tied. They're both very powerful, but Revan isn't as good as he would become. Bane kind of reached Darth Revan's level, but not Revan Reborn's level. And honestly, I think these 2 working together would match Darth Krayt. But I think Darth Krayt could best either one in a one-on-one sense in the Force. He uses his abilities much more frequent, dangerously, and more powerfully. Essence transfer is Bane's go-to, but I see all 3 Sith Lords as strong enough to just take it and remove it, kicking Bane right out of the fight. And all his other abilities, Krayt has surpassed. Revan may be able to pull out some abilities, but again, the only thing he has that the others don't is sorcery. And sorcery is not going to help him in a battle against really any of these guys. He doesn't have a table to just do a ritual on. So Revan is kind of kicked out of this fight. In conclusion, all 3 of these Sith Lords working together may have a chance of taking down Darth Krayt. Problem is, they're not going to work together. And that's why I think Krayt could dominate each of them in a battle of the Force. Advantage to Darth Krayt for his Force abilities. Now we will compare these Sith Lords as martial artists and lightsaber duelists. Darth Bane is indisputably one of the best lightsaber duelists of his era. Not of all time, but of his era. Like, that gets way overrated. Bane has a red curved-bladed lightsaber, not this dumb purple one you see in the image. That's just because people think it looks cool. It doesn't. Just give him his real lightsaber, guys. But, anyway, Bane was a master of multiple lightsaber forms and contended with some of the best of his era, besting most of them. Darth Bane's chosen martial art was Form 5, Djemso. Form 5 Djemso was an all-strength-based power form used to just defend and counter with physical might and strength. It had 2 variants, Xian and Djemso. Bane used Djemso during his time at the Sith Academy and later used it for the rest of his life. And this form kind of became his preferred starting form. While training Darth Zana, Darth Bane began practicing in Form 3 Surisu. Surisu is an all-defensive lightsaber form used to defend and nothing else. It's like just defend and just defend. Bane trained Darth Zana to a pretty high skill in this form. Bane also during this time mastered or used Juyo, the 7th form of lightsaber combat. Juyo is just a random, unpredictable, dangerous lightsaber form used by Darth Maul and Mace Windu in the movies. It was vicious and unpredictable. These forms were made even more dangerous by Bane's use of the curved hilt lightsaber. A lot more of his attacks were randomized or just even broader, which made his fighting style very dangerous. In all, also, Darth Bane had one weakness: dual blades. Against lesser dual blade duelists, he was okay, but against masters of dual blade fencing, he could get taken down easily. Overall, Darth Bane is a very high-skilled martial artist and lightsaber duelist who can hold his own against all the best. Darth Krayt was indisputably one of the best lightsaber duelists of his era. No, he was the best duelist of the Legacy era. Like, let's be honest. Was there really someone better than him during that era? Maybe Cade Skywalker, I don't know. But Krayt had hundreds of years of practice in lightsaber combat, starting from the Clone Wars, to his time on Tatooine, to his time as a bounty hunter, and then his time as a Sith Lord, all culminated in one of the best swordsmen of his era. Krayt handled two lightsabers, two single-bladed lightsabers. One was with a red blade, one was with a green blade. Blade color honestly doesn't count anymore due to canon, but who cares? Krayt had many decades of battling. His chosen lightsaber form was Form 6, Nyman. Nyman was a jack-of-all-trades lightsaber style used to balance. Easy to learn, difficult to master. Krayt mastered it. Krayt broke through and mastered the form, using it in Jarkai dual-blade fencing. Similar to Exar Kun, Krayt was radical, using his Nyman as the baseline for his skills in Jarkai, his force abilities, and his martial skill, rather than using it as a supplement form like most. Krayt would come at you with everything. A blade lock and then a strike from below or above. Two blade locks. Saber throws, force lightning, dark transfer, single blade, dual blades. You name it. Krayt has faced enemies from Aurra Sing to Anya Kuro to Order 66 clones to Obi-Wan Kenobi to Cade Skywalker to Darth Warlock. Krayt has faced it all, and you would be dumb to try and kill him. Darth Revan was a very skilled martial artist. However, most of his powers were more dedicated to his force abilities rather than martial arts. The only duelist of the era that surpassed him was Darth Malak. Revan's chosen lightsaber form was also Form 6 Nyman. We just discussed Nyman, so I don't think I have to get back into it again. But anyway, unlike Krayt, Revan kinda learned it but didn't master it. But at the same time, he did. And similar to Krayt, he did use it to balance his skills in Jarkai and Taru, the 4th form of lightsaber combat. But he wasn't radical. He was just kind of a straightforward duelist. He just had a straight set of statistics and boom. He was skilled enough in lightsaber combat to remove Darth Malak's jaw, which is a very impressive feat in that of itself, and defeat Darth Malak later in life, and nearly best Bastila Shan. So, overall, Revan is a very capable martial artist. He's a high-level master, But anyone equal or above his skills are probably going to crush him. At best, Darth Plagueis was an exceptional martial artist. Because he was in the Rule of Two era, he didn't really face a lot of adversaries. I mean, he faced Darth Venemus, probably sparred with Sidious a few times, and then the Anzadi assassins. I finally got that name right. Again, Plagueis was definitely a generalist rather than a specialist. And while Darth Tenebrous called him a master martial artist, I don't want to really call him a martial master. He kind of spread himself thin with his skills. Plagueis was skilled in both single and dual blade combat. And like Revan and Krayt, he used Form 6 Nyman. It's more similar to Revan. He used Form 6 as the base and to do all his skills, but instead of being a wild frenzy like Krayt, he was very more passive. Plagueis, however, fell into Nyman's trap of spreading all his abilities too thin. Meaning, all of his strikes was, whoa, and, weren't that scary or dominating. And compared to a true lightsaber master, he wasn't that good. Plagueis was also skilled in Jarkai dual blade fencing, wielding his master's lightsaber as well as his own. He was also skilled in many other fighting styles, blasters, explosives, and other things, though he typically relied on his force abilities to get the job done. In all, Darth Plagueis was an okay lightsaber duelist, but at least he used a lightsaber instead of just spending all his time in a lab. I find this verdict both easy and hard to call. First one out, Darth Plagueis again. While Bane, Krayt, and Revan are all skilled, they outmatch Plagueis. All three of them outmatch Plagueis. Plagueis is good with a lightsaber, but he's not a master. He spread himself too thin, and Darth Venemus nearly killed him. And Bane, Krayt, and Revan could all whip Darth Venemus any day of the week. I would kick Revan out next, as I find Bane and Krayt's styles to be far superior. But then when we get to Bane and Krayt, it's actually very difficult for me to decide. Both were the masters of their era. However, I'm going with Darth Krayt. My reason for this was Darth Bane's biggest weakness was dual blade fencing. The lightsaber discipline which Darth Krayt absolutely mastered. Darth Bane can hold his own in dual blade fencing against someone like Ahsoka Tano or Asajj Ventress, which I would say Revan and Plagueis have similar skill levels in Jarkai. But when it comes to duelists like Darth Krayt, who are literal gods with dual blade fencing, Bane will be crushed. Slight advantage to Darth Krayt for martial arts and dueling abilities. And now, the verdict. As I've stated before, this will be a narrative ending, so I'm going to kind of read this battle as it was like a book. So coming from the point of views from each of the characters, how they would act, instead of just saying, oh, they'd win because of this, and this is how I think the fight would somewhat go, and boom, there's the winner. So instead, I'm going to have more of this. But anyway, Darth Bane, Darth Krayt, Darth Revan, and Darth Plagueis were four of the Sith Order's best members. But if they all met on the battlefield, who would win? Well, let's find out. The area was silent. 4 figures, cloaked in the shroud of darkness, stood feet away from each other, their ships parked a few miles back. Darth Bane stared at the 3 other men. On one corner, he saw a man clearly out of his element, broken, disfigured, yet stronger than ever. Next, he saw a Mun, gray skin and burning yellow eyes, cloaked in the hood of darkness. And on the other, he saw a man in a mask, one that had clearly seen much, but still stood strong. The four people turned around and started pacing around each other, their eyes locked, staring at each other. Bane wondered which would be the first to fall to his blade. Blades ignited all around him, starting with the disfigured man next to him. He saw a red blade and then immediately a green one. Bane knew his weaknesses with dual blade fencing, knowing that he should probably stay away. He watched the figure rush the Mun in front of him, who ignited a single blade, but upon contact was immediately pressed back. Bane watched the two and then stared at the other figure, the man in the mask, who was just as amazed as the battle going on. The man stared back at Bane, who ignited his red lightsaber, knowing what was about to come. Bane knew too, grabbing the lightsaber off his belt, snapping it off, igniting the blade. Krayt, on the other hand, had just engaged Plagueis. Knowing that Plagueis was clearly the weakest among them, clearly had not had the most experience, it would be an easy first kill. Plagueis was already back, going on as much defensive skill as he possibly could. But Krayt's offense was too dominant. Krayt sent Plagueis back again with a telekinetic push to the face, knocking him to the ground. Plagueis got up, only to be met by a torrent of lightning, shocking him across the room. Plagueis got up. The pain in his back and ribs were unbearable, as Krayt was preparing another massive bolt of lightning. Plagueis shot back out with his own bolt, pushing Krayt aside, picking up his lightsaber and trying to retreat. "You stupid fool," smirked Krayt as he rushed Plagueis again. On the other side of the battlefield, Bane and Revan had been pacing around each other, their blades ignited, each wanting to know what the other would do next. Bane gripped the hilt of his saber even further, tightening in rage. He was curious to see what this opponent would do. Clearly he had seen much. But Revan was barely moving, waiting for the towering man before him to attack. Finally, Bane snapped, raising his blade above his head and rushing Revan, who passively put his lightsaber like a shield to his chest. Bane turned to his most dominant form, Form 5, to Gemso, using basic Gemso moves and counters to power through Revan's defenses. Revan was definitely at a disadvantage, but he kept strong, using counters, as well as his agility and endurance to keep up. Bane began using the hilt of his saber for more odd angles of attack, but none were unorthodox enough to confuse Revan. Revan countered, did a flip, deactivating his lightsaber, using a telekinetic throw to keep Bane back. Bane smirked, so we play it with the Force. Shutting off his lightsaber, he summoned a powerful bolt of lightning, to which Revan absorbed and shot back. Bane was sent to the ground, groaning in pain. Meanwhile, Plagueis had been running from Krayt when he felt a grasp around his throat. Krayt lifting him in air and shoving him into a pile of rocks. Plagueis was only just able to ignite his lightsaber and retreat as Krayt smashed his lightsabers through the stone, their blades locking over and over again. The Mun's eyes being tortured by the staunch figure, breaking his bones as their blades locked further and further. Plagueis jumped back, embracing the full might of the dark side that he had, and letting out a repulse strong enough to send Krayt back. He looked around to find the other two figures, but they were nowhere to be seen. He had just dragged the battle way further than he needed to. Perfect for them, he thought, throwing out his saber at Krayt. But Krayt just laughably deflected it aside, smirking. "You stupid fool. Time to die." As he rushed Plagueis, using the full power of Dark Transfer, reversing it to kill, Plagueis screamed in horror, his apparatus getting damaged as well as his entire body. Krayt laughed and smirked, holding Plagueis down to the ground, lightning cackling through his hands and burning into Plagueis' flesh and organs. Plagueis screamed out a scream as if he was dying 1,000 times. On the other side, Bane and Revan were just getting up, reigniting their lightsabers. This time, Bane had decided to take it more cautiously, instead of brute force. But Revan's whole thing was cautiousness. Their blades activated again. And Bane brought it out, pushing the gem but at a much lighter assault, but then immediately switching to the moves of Form 7 Juyo. Revan was immediately pushed back, shocked by the sudden change, even more suddenly changed by the use of the curved hilt. He jumped back and ignited his second lightsaber. Bane was put back, another Jarkai user. He put his saber instantly like a shield, going to the Form 3 Sarisu art. Revan cautiously used his acrobatics and dual blades. After a few blocks, Bane tried to defend himself but realized this was no more than Sim's level. He could deal with this. All he needed was the full might of the dark side, and he was safe. He noticed the figure, broken and battered, who he had seen earlier, and told himself not to fight, returning. The Mun was clearly dead, as he would have been returning too. Bane stepped back and unleashed the full might of the Force, powering it through his veins and targeting Revan, blasting out a force wave to send him to the ground. As Revan tried to get up, lightning spurted across his body. Bane turned to see the figure, who had just approached, cackling his full lightning on him. He could hear the man in the mask screaming with pain. Bane smiled, unleashing his own bolt of lightning at the man. Revan was trying to absorb it with all of his might, but the pain going through his flesh and armor, everything felt like it was on fire. He felt like he was literally Mustafar. As he screamed and burned, he was lifted by the Force and smashed into a rock. Too dazed and stunned to go on, all he could do was let the burning flames take him. As he fell to the ground, merely a burnt soul, dead. Bane and Krayt stood apart from each other. Both were amazed. Sith teamwork. They gripped their sabers, not knowing what the other would do. Bane was upset and confused. He could ally with Krayt, or he may be forced to fight Krayt, the one thing he doesn't need to do. As he ponders, he reaches over to Krayt. Met with a bolt of lightning coming from the man's hand, Bane is shot back. In a moment of fury and rage, Krayt ignites both of his sabers and rushes the Dark Lord. Bane instantly goes to his use of Surisu, not knowing how to defend. He tries to counter with the Force, but each of Krayt's attacks are too strong and too quick. Bane is instantly put on his back foot. Bane tries to use a powerful Force Storm. As it hits Krayt mostly, Krayt is just able to redirect it, as the other half of the storm hits Bane, burning him severely. Bane knows that this battle is not his. He knows he can't win. The power of the figure standing before him is just too great. He embraces, remembering essence transfer, an ability he had learned years ago. He sighs, embracing his power and targeting Krayt and blasting his essence right into the dark figure. Boom! As he is knocked aside straight into the Force. He sees the figure, Darth Krayt, stare at him, knocking aside his spirit and destroying it. As the battlefield silences, Krayt stares at the dead body of Revan. He sees into the distance the dead and burnt body of Plagueis and the burnt corpse of Bane. Smiling to himself, contacting Darth Nihil and Darth Talon to tell him of his victory and boarding his ship. And thus, I declare Darth Krayt, the leader of the Rule of One, the man who walked many paths, the victor. Well, guys, that wraps up Season 1 of the Star Wars Versus series. I'm going to start working on the Marvel Versus series, because I have, one video on that, so I'm going to make way more of those. And then we'll probably start Season 2 about the summer, about June or July. So, and there'll definitely not be a lot of content of that, because, it's summer. Should be outside. So, that wraps up Season 1. For those who stayed for the entire video, I thank you. Because I am a very, very small YouTube channel, clearly. I don't even know how many By the time I'm making this video, I think I have 12 subscribers, which is actually pretty disappointing. For me, at least. But, anyway, we're still trying to get to 30 subscribers. We're doing good, guys. We're doing very good. But, if you stayed this long, thank you. I understand if you probably skipped ahead in the video and just watched the verdict. I get that, but anyway, I just wanted to thank you. There'll definitely be more content. I'm only saying goodbye to the Versus series for a little bit. I'm not saying goodbye to the channel. But, anyway, that's Versus series Season 1. If you have any ideas for Season 2 or the Marvel Versus series, send them in the comments. Tell me what you want to see. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. And may the Force be with you.